Hello guys, so welcome to the second video in the network address translation series. Okay, so today we are going to be talking about dynamic NAT. So you notice that in our previous video on static NAT, we manually mapped private IP addresses to public IP addresses. Okay, but this time round it's going to be a hassle when you have let's say probably over 50 or so many end devices. If you are going to be relying on static NAT where you need to manually map their private each IP address of these devices to the public IPs, is really going to be a hassle. So you also have the option of using dynamic NAT, whereby you only specify a pool of local as well as public IPs. Then the system will take it from there by dynamically mapping these two IP addresses in order to allow your internal network to communicate to devices on the internet. Okay, so let's get on with it. So we need to specify our inside and outside interfaces. Okay, so IP NAT inside. So obviously these are inside network, so just like we did in the static NAT video, we're going to do some similar here. Okay, so IP NAT inside. Okay, then we need to specify our outside interface as well. Alright, so the next thing for us to do is to now create a pool of local IP addresses. Okay, so as you can see, inside NAT here, we have two networks. Okay, so we have 10.1.1.0, then we have 192.168.0, but so far we only have single end devices within these networks or subnets. Okay, but then let's just assume that there are more. Okay, there are more devices, not just these two, right? So let's create a pool. But in order to create a pool for these two, we are going to be using access list. Okay, so we use access list to create the local IP address pool for our internal network. So let's start with 10.1.1.0. so we use IP what? So you can use IP access list standard 1. Okay, so permit. Okay, so we just input the network ID here. So 10.1.1.0 0.255. Okay, so we've created the pool for our 10.1.1.0 network. So we'll do same for our 192.168 network. So 192.168.1.0 network. Alright, so we are done creating the pool for these two networks. Okay, so now the next thing for us to do is to also create a pool for our outside network. Okay, so as you can see here, this has an ID, network ID of 8.1.1.0. okay, so basically we need a pool of IP addresses within this range. So let's use this command IP NAT pool. Okay, so we need to give a name or assign a name to this pool. So let's make it NAT underscore pool. Okay, so it's asking us what is the start IP address, the starting IP address, or the first IP address to be used within this pool. So as we well know, 8.1.1 here has already been assigned, as well as 8.1.1.2. so it's safe for us to use a range such as 8.1.1.10. then we need to specify and end what the last IP within that pool. So 8.1.1, let's use 20 here, even though we just have single devices, but let's just roll with this like that. Then we need to specify a subnet mask for it. So 255.255.255.0. Well, that is what our global network here is using, or our internet facing or interface is using. Yeah, so I believe that will be all. So we've created our two pools already. Now we've created a pool for our local networks, which is the one, our inside network. We've also created a pool of public IP addresses that will be dynamically allocated or dynamically mapped to our private IPs. So we are good to go. So the next thing for us to do is to then globally configure NAT itself. So we'll be translating our inside network as usual, our source address as usual. Then this time, instead of static, we're going to be using the list. Okay, the list of local IP addresses that we stated. That's our access list. Okay, so we need to specify the access list number. Remember, we used access list 1. As you can see, a standard access list 1. Right, so you need to take note of this. Okay, and now it's asking us it should be mapped to which pool of IP addresses. So we'll be using pool of IP instead of the interface. We'll be using the pool. So we need to specify the pool name, and remember we used NAT pool as the pool name. So we need to specify that exactly. NAT pool. Yeah, and we are good to go. So our configuration here is done. So from PC1, let's ping PC2. Let's ping from PC1 we're going to ping PC here, which is on the internet. So ping 8.1.1.2 from PC1. Our pings are going through. Everything is working perfectly. So let's find out which IP was assigned. So do show IP NAT translations. Okay, so 10.1.1 was assigned the first IP in the pool, which is 8.1.1.10. okay, so it was assigned 8.1.1.10 to be used. Okay, so that looks good. Let's try PC2 as well. So ping 8.1.1.2 here. Our pings, okay, so working. So we lost our first ping due to app address resolution protocol. Alright, so let's see what's happening. What pool of address were assigned? Okay, so 192.168.1.1 was assigned the second IP within the pool, within the global pool, which is 8.1.1.11. Right, so everything looks good. Dynamic NAT is working perfectly. So yeah, so guys, if you don't want to use static NAT, especially when you have so many end devices, you can use dynamic NAT if that's good for you. So in the next video, I will then I'm going to make another video on PAT, which is port address translation. This is what is actually used in the real world, or you'll be using for most of your NAT configurations. So guys, if you like this video, kindly like. If you haven't yet subscribed, kindly subscribe and leave a comment in case you have any questions or any suggestions as well. So let's watch out for the next video on PAT. Thank you very much.